hot in this room. My hole in my fucking tooth hurts. Anyway, hello, welcome to the Trey Smith Perspective for the 43rd time. This is episode 43. I am your host, Trey Smith, and we're back again with another riveting episode. I'm not gonna front. I know last week was awful. 42 was awful. That was an awful pod to edit. That was an awful pod to break down. And then the little cherry on top was that I fucked up the YouTube audio to a point where it really was just kind of beyond repair. And I was like, fuck it. There's no YouTube this week. Hopefully that's not an issue this week. And we will be back on YouTube for the YouTube viewership. Which, speak of the devil, shout out to y'all. The YouTube viewership, Spotify listenership, Apple listenership, Podbean listenership, shout out to y'all as always. First time listeners, last time listeners. Let's get into some shit. What do we have to get into? First things first, I guess I should apologize for episode 42 fucking stinking. That was a stinky pod. That was a stinky pod. It's always rough when you're like 20 minutes into the pod and you're like, this isn't good. This is not good. I thought about re-recording several times, and that's never a good thing. When you're like 20 minutes into the mix of a pod and re-recording the pod crosses through your brain, it's not. Chances are some things went wrong a few places. And honestly, I think I'm being a little bit rough on myself maybe. The back half of the pod, maybe like the last 10, 12 minutes was kind of rough, but honestly wasn't even the worst that I've put out. But that just goes to show that we need to up the standard and we need to up the consistency of good and entertaining pods on this fucking platform. So that's what we're here to do, or try to do, this week. What should we start with? I get like what happened with the YouTube version last week? What happened was, I'm sure you can remember. If you listened to last week, there was a punch in about 18 minutes in. I had to punch out, punch in real quick. Had an external problem I had to solve real quick. And on the second punch in, some audio setting that normally is perfectly fine and never resets, for some reason reset, unmuted, and there was just mad audio that I was not supposed to have over the second half of the video for the YouTube version. And instead of fuck with it or even try to like, really there was nothing I could do for the back, like, because it was the back half of the audio, so I would have had to have like tracked the, because I record two different versions of the pod. I record a video with audio and then a separate audio that I upgrade separately. That basically just kind of helps, and also is kind of like a backup plan in case shit like that happens, where like I have the hard MP3 version of the pod that I could put out no matter what, in case, and if anything happens to the YouTube version or YouTube audio. Now that's probably not the way most people do it, or the way that it should be done, but that's the way I run my fucking operation, mostly because that's the way I know how to at the moment. If I figure out something else, we'll practice something else, and I'll let you know shortly. And what should we pivot to? I really don't want to get into music because what I wanted to talk about this week was the Beyonce album. Beyonce put out another album, Renaissance, and I didn't really get a chance to listen to that shit. I had not been listening to much music. Had not really had the chance to. Had just been busy, hadn't had the chance to really listen to it at work, was consuming other content when I was listening to things. And I've heard a few songs off of it, not enough to really give a good review. What I can say is, I liked what I heard, and the overall consensus is all right. I did see the headlines for her having to take out an obleast word. I get it. It's derogatory to some people. It's offensive to some people. But anyway, speaking of what world do we live in right now, the Deshaun Watson verdict actually, before we get to that one, something that's not even crazier, but also fucking crazy that I didn't even believe was true, that the Dolphins were found guilty of tampering with Tom Brady. that they were going to make him the Jackie Moon fucking coach, owner, and player. I didn't even think that there was a possibility or an inkling of a possibility that could be true. That's somehow true. They were talking to Tom Brady, I guess, as early as 2019 when he's a member of the Patriots, trying to make him a player, owner, fucking coach. What? What happened? Why didn't it work out? And if they're found guilty, does Tom Brady get any repercussions? Because he was participating in the conversations, I'm assuming willingly. I didn't think there was any type of shred of truth to that, but that's wild. It's kind of crazy. Like, can you even be mad at Tom? Or it's like, yo, I could bring the players I want, basically, like, build my own super team around me? In Miami? Yeah. I ain't mad at Tom. The owner of the Dolphins should certainly be kicked to the curb. He was suspended and fined, I believe, $1.5 million, and they lost a draft pick. Excuse me. Not good. That's crazy. However, it did, I guess, come back that they were found not guilty of throwing games. Brian Flores alleged that he was offered $100,000 per game that he lost. Apparently, there was no hard proof of that. No quid pro quo. No something for something. No, like, hard, legitimate offers. So, moving on to the next issue concerning the NFL, the Deshaun Watson suspension. 6 games. Not enough. It's not enough based on sheer optics alone. I don't give a fuck about what was found guilty, what was reviewed, what, where, who, why, how, what. I don't give a fuck. Based on optics alone, 6 games is not enough. Over 66 alleged masseuses in like a 1-month period over Instagram or some shit. Over 24 cases of sexual misconduct by different women. 5 cases were brought to review. Or no, what? Was it 10 cases or 5 cases? No, it was 5 cases that were brought to review by the judge that enacted the 6-game suspension. 1 was immediately thrown out because I guess the police never spoke to her or some shit. 1 was immediately thrown out. So she only reviewed 4 cases. And with that, she said his behavior was egregious, but then still never, I guess, conducted himself in a sexually aggressive manner or, like, forced somebody to, like, do anything sexually aggressive. Or so, it was some bullshit like that. Where it was, how was this how it was decided? That she was handed 5, 1 was immediately thrown out, so she was handed 4. It just sounded like some fuckery afoot. And I hate saying that, and I hate sounding like that guy, but that sounds like some fuckery afoot. And it ain't going to cost them shit, really, because Cleveland front-loaded the first year of his deal so much with the signing bonus that really he ain't going to lose a penny. On optics alone, that's garbage for the league, dude. This is already the league that, like that doesn't protect women at all. Like, that's the optic of the NFL for a lot of people, is that the league does not give a fuck about women in any way. And that just continues to build. Again, based off optics alone, the first shit that I lined out for you, 66 fucking masseuses over a 1-month period on Instagram. This is a professional athlete. You don't think that there's masseuses available at the fucking Houston Texans facility? That's where he played at the time. You don't think you don't think that those are available? They are, and they're probably like some of the best in the field. 24 cases of sexual misconduct. Whatever got thrown out, I guess nothing. We know nothing was criminal. We know everything's alleged. But there's a lot of smoke. Calvin Ridley bet $50, I think. And he's out a whole year. A whole fucking year. What's the other one that's like completely silly? Keenan Allen had an expired license or some shit. What's the other one that's completely silly? Where my phone is dead. I hate starting a pod with a dead phone. I have to charge it because I have no access to information unless I pull it up on here. And I don't want to run into an ad or something that fucks this YouTube version up. So, yeah, optic-wise, I don't like it. I don't like it for the league. I don't like it because this has been like an ongoing thing for years. I just don't think 6 games is enough. I don't think it was enough to to basically say, well, because I think what they're leaning on is that these are the punishments that have been given before. Roethlisberger, I think, got 6 games. That was reduced to 4. Zeke got 6 games. They're saying that they're you can't put a stamp on it and say that this is what it is. Like, oh, do something disgusting to women, 6 games. You can still play in 10, now 11. You can still play in 11 games. What is that? It's not good for the league. I didn't like that ruling. I don't like that 6-game ruling. Not saying I want him to miss. Again, and I don't want to say I don't want him to miss the whole year. I want him to be. I don't know. I feel like maybe at least a season. Maybe at least, because this has been like a 2-year thing at least in the headlines. Deshaun Watson for some not so good things for the Shield. I think a year and appeal it down to 10 games. That's not bad. I think, not like, I don't want to act like I'm the gatekeeper, but like you want to, like this was, as I've seen a lot of people say, this was unprecedented. This was nothing like we've seen before, so why group it with the things we've seen before? They should have made a hard point to be like, this is a no-no. Whether any of this is true or not, this much smoke around the Shield is a no-no. Don't even get into the other shit where the Houston Texans were allegedly providing hotel rooms and NDAs and shit for him. This is a big fucking no-no. They should have made a hard point. The 6 games, I don't like it. We'll move on. Should we get back to Kevin Hart? Or no, I didn't even start it yet. Should we get to Kevin Hart on the pivot? Because every time Kevin Hart speaks, it's like some motivational fucking mojo. It's some fucking motivational morphine straight to your veins, and you're just like, ooh. You feel like you could fucking do anything listening to Kevin Hart speak. There's just like certain dudes that when they start ranting and raving and like spitting their shit at you, that you're like, whoa, okay, different level of human being. Kevin Hart, one of them. Dave Chappelle, one of them. Like Quentin Tarantino in that, fucking like Coach Tomlin I put in that, like just dudes who like Mark, like I don't want to say Mark Wahlberg, but like kinda like with this like regimented shit, like I don't like just people who like when they start Tom Brady, like when they start breaking down how they view the world and how they achieve what they achieve and what they want to be, like it just like it shows why they're up here and the rest of us are all like here and like middling in different levels of like of this area. Like it's absolutely nonsensical. Like oh man, a lot of big things you could take away from it. You know, like the fucking just keep going. You know, just keep going. Don't stop. Changing environments, attitudes, put yourself in motivational, inspirational environments. That shit's contagious. That shit is true. Like, I myself can also find myself bogged down by, like, toxic ass fucking people around me. There are a few fucking people who I interact with on the day-to-day that, for the sake of being amicable at my fucking 40-hour-a-week job, I will not say anything. But you motherfuckers know who you are constantly, and not only my business, but everyone else's around you. That energy is also contagious, and it's fucking disgusting. So if you need to find a way to shut that valve off, and know how to not allow that to penetrate, and only focus on the motivational, the light energy, the energy that makes you feel good, not that disgusting foo-foo kitty shit. And shout out to the Pivot too, man. Pivot getting all these fucking dope interviews. Kevin Hart's huge. Ryan Clark taking him on First Take. Adding RC has like taken RC and Fred and Channing have been like combined into like Voltron, like the ultimate athlete pod. It's absolutely crazy. I believe they have surpassed I Am Athlete for sure. I believe the only surviving piece of I Am Athlete is Ocho. If they had gotten Ocho on the Pivot, there would be no more I Am Athlete. I 1000% believe that. I don't care about LaShawn McCoy. Maybe not no I Am Athlete. Brandon Marshall's a talented fucking media guy, and he's a professional. He will succeed in whatever he puts his mind to. But no. People want to sit down with the Pivot. That's what I'm seeing. the pivot is getting these interviews bigger and faster than I Am Athlete was. Now, I Am Athlete was needed. The road that I Am Athlete paved, it needed to do that for the pivot to even exist. I understand that. But pivot is a better pod. 1,000%. I will stand by that. I hate doing that. Well, I don't hate doing that, but I got to stop doing that because I know how loud it is in the fucking mic. My apologies. I wanted to get into the the ups and downs of just the disappointment. I kind of touched on it earlier, but like just the disappointment of planning out a great podcast, or like having, in this case, a great whiteboard full of topics, and thinking you have like a grasp on like, all right, I'll hit here, and then I'll swing down here, and then I'll bounce up here, and then I'll segue into this cleverly, and then you think you're gonna do all that. And then you sit down and you start going, and you might even start good for 5 to 8 minutes, but then you fucking trip hard, you fall on your face. There's a fucking 2.5 minute just silent gap where you're staring at the thing like, is this even worth it? Should I re-record it? And then that's where it comes back to a lot of the motivational shit we were talking about just a second ago. The keep going, don't stop, don't ignore the blueprint. That was a big one that I took away from the Kevin Hart pivot interview. Don't ignore the blueprint. Just put your head down, just keep going. And he said, yeah, man, he said a lot of dope shit in that interview too, like how just becoming bigger, wanting more, like how he wants to. He's basically just establishing his empire at this point, his media empire, and yeah, Kevin Hart is like the ultimate, like, it's like you want to follow that, like as a guy who works hard, puts his head down and works fucking hard and feeds not only himself but the people around him. Fantastic. I didn't mean to fall back into that topic. But again, that pivot interview was fantastic. Every interview, any podcast he does, like again, his Joe Rogan one was fantastic. I think he's been on there twice. I'm not sure. But amazing. But yeah, not to get sidetracked, but yeah, you just got to keep your head down and keep working. And when you plan out a great pod, sometimes you put out a shitty one like episode 42. And I think I remember the exact moment where that shitty episode went wrong. I told that fucking gym story about the dude getting naked in the locker room. And that comes from thinking a topic has more punch than it does. And then you really don't know until you see a response from it, or you hear it or you hear it as you're saying it, or you hear it in the edit. That case was right as I said it. As soon as I finished the story, I was like, that has no punch. How do I segue from that to any of the other topics? Like that, like it fucking froze like me in my tracks. I was like, that didn't have the hit I thought it was. Where like in your head it's funny, but then when you say it, it's just something about the disconnect from here to here. Sometimes that happens, and you just gotta roll through it, edit around it. But again, we'll just keep on moving. The Will Smith apology we will touch on. I feel like I'm kind of rapid fire flying through some things, but again, I said this would be another shorter episode. It is sweltering in this room right now. I am, I don't know if you can see it. There are beads of sweat up here, on here, and glasses wearers, I know you feel my pain. That little fucking bridge over the nose, you gotta keep that fucking, you gotta pull that off and wipe that, because that will be the most disgusting, greasy part of your body. Like, no. Absolutely disgusting. Oh, also, before we go a second further, R.I.P. Bill Russell. 11 NBA championships, Hall of Famer. Underrated, I feel, as far as the all-time list of greats go. Passed away this past week. Or past 2 weeks, depending on when you hear this, or past a long time ago, depending on when you hear this. Damn shame that he passed, but big spill of sadness into the basketball community. It's been a tough year for football players as well. There's been a lot of legends die in that regard, and 2022 has continued to not be the upswing that we wanted it to be from 2021 and 2020, but we will continue to keep our head down and move forward. And just get what the hell we can out of this thing that we're on, this little ride that we're on called life. Next, the Will Smith apology. I did kind of want to get back into Nope because I feel like I didn't highlight how much I enjoyed Nope. Yeah, let me do that. Let me double back to Nope. We'll sprinkle a little bit more, go see that shit on that shit, and then we'll get back to the Will Smith thing because I don't have much to say on the Will Smith apology. I'm so over talking about Will Smith and Chris Rock at this point. I think the fact that he waited this long to put the fucking shit out is ridiculous. But Nope. Second thoughts. Really, same as the first thoughts. Just a little more concise. I really enjoyed it. The more I even think about this movie, the more I enjoy it. There's this thing where like studios need to learn how to market their fucking movies, right? Because I would have enjoyed like Nope more walking out had I had the perspective on it that I have now. Now, be it I know he wanted to keep that shit safe or keep that shit secret. And if you listen to all the Jordan Peele promo, he was giving you the right shit. But like, I think it's advertised as a horror movie. That's not right. Or it's like on the site as a horror movie. Now, there are like one or two scary scenes, and it's a tense movie. But that is like a sci-fi blockbuster thriller. Just the more I think about it, the more I enjoy it. Definitely go see Nope. Just the cinema. I don't say this a lot. But the cinematography in that movie, I couldn't even say the word until the third try. The cinematography in that fucking movie, like some of the best shit I've ever seen. Like the camera, just like the camera angle. There's not a wasted shot. The way they shot at night, I really enjoyed every scene at night. They said they experimented with some new, like, I don't know if it was new technology or just some new camera lenses or whatever that really like it emphasized the feeling of your eyes, like you're outside at night and your eyes have adjusted, and it's really like in immersive. Like the whole movie is just immersive. It's absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to see it again. I recommend you go see it. I just wanted to double back and really like highlight that I really enjoyed that thing. And I instead of 7.5, I'm gonna give it 8, solid 8, maybe even 8.5. On second viewing. But yeah, go see that for sure. Also, yeah, I saw a lot of people saying that the Gordy plotline, the chimp plotline, doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the movie. How? It's all about like exploiting animals as spectacle and spectacle as a whole, and the animal thing can play into it with the monkey and the horses. How? It all flows, baby. It all flows, baby. Don't look for a problem. Next. The Will Smith apology. Thought this was some bullshit. Not saying he wasn't authentic, or that it wasn't genuine or needed. I would have liked it to have been done well before his fucking. I would have liked for it to have been done well before his fucking like PR team made sure like made him hold it. It feels like his PR team made him wait for 3 months. He said he was internalizing for 3 months. There's no way he doesn't know off rip what he did was wrong. I feel like he let it live to die back down and then brought it back up again. The apology should have came out right then. And I know he said he had to process some shit and this, that, and the third, and he the questions he answered and the questions he took on were all the questions I wanted to hear him answer. But I wanted to hear him answer them 3 months ago. So I don't give a flying fuck. I see why Chris Rock don't give a flying fuck. Moving on from the Will Smith Chris Rock saga of 2022. Hopefully never to speak of again. But I feel like that's it, man. I feel like that's it. I feel like this was a tight... Oh, man, we're only at 24 minutes. This is a tight pod, baby. Holy shit, a tight pod. Yeah. Yeah, man, I wasn't wasting no time. Wasn't wasting no time this week. It is hot in here. But I hate doing this. I always find myself doing this whenever I want to wrap up a pod and I'm not over at least 35 minutes. I start stretching, or if I'm under 30 minutes, like right now, I started doing it last week where I start stretching. Like the pauses get longer, the topics get shorter and dumber. Like anything that's just coming to my head, I'm just spitting. So I'm just gonna save myself the misery of doing that again this week, and we're just gonna end this pod. Again, shout out to y'all. Thank you for listening. Apologies on the short episodes. I think it's mainly because I didn't listen to any music this week. You figure music adds another 5-10 minutes, typically every week. We will listen to Beyonce. I feel like it's a damn sin. I only listened to like 4 or 5 records on air. I like the album. I liked what I heard off the album. I'm liking what I'm seeing about it for the most part. I just hadn't really had the chance to sit down and enjoy the music that way. Obviously listen to shit at the gym, but just hadn't had a chance to really sit down and digest the album. Anyway, I will see y'all next week. Shout out to y'all, first time listener, last time listener. As always, stay safe, and see y'all next week.